Good morning, ladies. Yay!
Good morning.
Welcome to Coffee with Kate.
Yeah.
This is such a special day because this is the beginning of National Infertility Awareness Week. And this is where we're going to talk about different ways to overcome infertility, and we're going to be providing support to families throughout the country. This is a week where the nation stops and shines a really big, bright, positive spotlight on the families that are struggling with and overcoming infertility. So thank you for being willing to share your stories and to encourage and to let folks know that infertility can be overcome. Today, I've got some amazing women who are part of the Kate Foundation family, and they're going to talk about a little bit about not just their stories, but their testimony, and they're going to share hope that they overcame and you can too. So let me introduce them. First, we have Miss Sarah Jones from Gas City, Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
Well, Muncie, but close.
Muncie, Indiana. Yes. And Sarah joined the Kate Foundation family in 2012?
Mm-hmm.
2012. Awesome. Yes. And then we have Mrs. Tanya Morales, who hails from the great Sunshine State. Is Florida the Sunshine State?
That's right.
All right. And she joined the Kate Foundation family in 2015?
I think 2015, 2016.
2015-16, yes. So these are fantastic women who want to let everybody know that infertility can and will be overcome if you don't give up. So let's just get right into it. Before we get started, this is Coffee with Kate, and you have your host, Dr. Camille Hammond, CEO of the Kate Foundation. And this is our semi-monthly live stream program where we share about topics that are related to overcoming infertility. So again, today we have Miss Sarah Jones from Indiana and Miss Tanya Morales from Florida. And they're going to share a little bit about their journeys and also share their hope for you about ways that you can and will overcome infertility. So Sarah, let's start with you. Tell me a little bit about your background and your infertility journey.
Well, Joe and I started dating in 98, so we were kind of end of high school sweethearts, and we started trying to get pregnant, and it just didn't happen. So we did the test and things with our OB, and then my cousin, Stacy Veeder, held an infertility forum right after she and Nick had gotten their grant and done their IVF. And that was the first time I heard about the Kate Foundation, and the first time I realized that there's more support and community out there than people talk. What they were doing, it became kind of our passion just to support. And then when we had to look at IVF and how we were going to afford that because we don't have coverage, the Kate Foundation applying was our obvious answer, and we were blessed with a grant in 2012. We did get pregnant with our first IVF, and we miscarried at 8 weeks. So that was rough, and that was a lot of faith and challenges that came with that. Trying to remember that, okay, now we know we could get pregnant. That was, step one. So we had to go a little further. Then that summer, after our miscarriage, we won a Kate Foundation raffle at one of the races.
Wow. That's so crazy that you won the raffle and the grant. Yay!
Yes. So we were able to do a second IVF thanks to the Kate Foundation in 2014. And that was unsuccessful. But I think we learned every step of the way. That summer, Joe's dad passed away, so it kind of put our whole infertility family building on hold because we had all that, another emotional thing to deal with.
That's right.
So in 2016, our third time was the charm. And the first IVF that we had to pay for ourselves, thanks to the K Foundation, this was the first one that we had fully out of pocket. So, we were really blessed to be able to do it 3 times. Like, we wouldn't have been able to try. But third time was the charm. We got pregnant, and Andrew will be 2 this June.
And he's so cute. He's an adorable little man.
He is, and he's so ornery, and I try and just savor every minute of it. Yes. Because it was such a long journey to get here. And, he's out there. His pictures are on Facebook. I just share him with all our friends and family because they were the ones that prayed us through everything that we went through. So it took a village to get him here. So,
right.
But, I was thinking about this the other day, just with Infertility Awareness Week coming. Like, it sounds so like, oh, whatever. It's easy to say now, you have your baby, don't give up. But really, like, looking back, I can't imagine him not being our baby. Like, everything happened the way God needed it to.
Amen.
For us to be the parents that we are in our relationship and experiences, it just all played out. Looking back, I can see it. In the middle of it, I couldn't always see the big picture. And but he is who we were waiting on. A little ornery, cute booger that we love with everything, but everything was worth it. Every shot, test, acupuncture, ultrasound. Sure, I wish it would have been easier, but he's the best. So I think we were waiting. I tell him, we waited so long because God knew you were going to be the perfect baby for us. So,
amen. And you would be a different person if you had not gone through all that you went through.
We really
while you were waiting. And
yeah.
Okay, well, Sarah, thank you for that. And now, Tanya, please share a little bit about your story and how you overcame.
Well, I found out when I was 14 years old that I was not going to be able to have a child of my own. I have a rare disorder called MRKH, and I was born without a fully developed uterus. And so my journey started when I was just young. However, when I started dating my now husband in 2009, we were immediately very open with one another about my infertility and what that would mean for us. For many years, we thought that surrogacy was going to be the route we took. However, every time that we started to put money aside, every time that we started to think it was time to go down that path, all of the doors would instantly be slammed shut. And so it was actually, I think, the end of 2016 that we had started to explore the idea of adoption and what that would mean for us. We started looking at agencies, trying to figure out would a private adoption, a state adoption, what would be better? But we instantly were surprised by the financial obligation of adoption and very overwhelmed. We didn't let that stop us though. And I was very blessed to have a girlfriend who had previously received a Kate Foundation grant share with me about the foundation and what they do for both surrogacy, IVF, and adoption. And so we applied and we're very lucky to receive a grant. And for us, it kind of jump-started our entire fundraising for our adoption. It was kind of it was what got us going. It was that first bit of money that showed us, you know what, this is possible. We can do this. We were approved with our home study for adoption in February of 2018, and we welcomed home our son, Lucas John Morales, on October 1st, 2018. He's just about 7 months old now, and I have to say that even though the journey felt so long and there were so many ups and downs during that journey, now I look back and it just seems like it was just a glimpse in time. It's all so quickly forgotten how hard we had to work and how sad some of those days were, because he just brings so much joy to our lives every day.
What a blessing. What a blessing. So, Kristen, if we could add Sarah back. And so, you guys brought home babies. All right, there we go. In different ways, but both of your sons have been a huge blessing. It sounds like not just to you all, but to whole communities, because I think, as Sarah put it, you needed a village to pray you through those years of what may have felt like famine, or what may have felt like just waiting. Tanya, would you agree that you had an entire village?
Absolutely. We had so many people praying with us, praying for us. We had lots of friends and families, members who donated towards our adoption journey. We even completed a yard sale where our entire community came together to support us and help us bring Lucas home.
That's beautiful. So if either of you ladies, and again, I want to reference, you all are from completely different backgrounds. One is from Indiana, one is from Florida, but you overcame, and you overcame in different ways. If you had advice to share with families that may be a little discouraged today and may have gotten some bad news, or maybe they knew from, as you did when you were younger, Tanya, maybe they've known for a long time that it would be hard for them to conceive, but they're at a point where they're just really feeling a little hopeless. What do you want to share with them today about things that they can do right now to keep themselves going? What can you share with them? What can you give them?
I think one of my biggest kind of therapeutic things for me was we had a blog that we started. And so I would just write after, a test or procedure. And it was really kind of random some days, but I said, if you were reading it, you knew me. So, but it just gave me that outlet to just get it all out there. And if somebody, out there could read it and feel me, but just to have that outlet and to know somebody was out there listening and that you're not alone. I think once you find out how so many people have, had some kind of struggle, just reach out and know that it's okay, and it's a medical thing. Like, it's not something you did wrong, that you're not alone. And there are ways, I think our Cade Foundation family is a beautiful way to see how we support each other. We're all at different steps in our lives with our families, but we're all together and there for each other when we need it. So that's my biggest thing, is just reach out, reach out to the Cade Foundation. They can connect you with us, if you just need a person to listen, because that's part of it. You feel you got full of hormones and all these things on top of it. So, but just don't give up.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And then Tanya, do you have anything to share, any golden nuggets that someone who is at the verge of losing hope, that you can share with them to encourage them to just hold on a little longer?
Absolutely. I have to agree with Sarah that reaching out to those that are around you and sharing your journey is key. For me, I had been very, very private about my infertility through my early 20s, my teenage years, of course. But my husband and I decided to also do a blog and to really just put out there what was going on in our lives. And I have to tell you that as a woman who had kept it so private, it was very freeing for me to all of a sudden just let everybody know this is who I am and this is my journey. But what came from that was that so many women that I knew from high school, from college, from career, that were also privately struggling with infertility, all of a sudden started reaching out to me and saying, hey, I'm there too. Can you tell me how you're doing this? And I actually was able to start becoming a resource for women, which was also very encouraging to me. But they also supported me. So definitely, if you feel comfortable, we never want to push anybody to do something that's not right for you. But if you feel comfortable being open with your friends, your family, your community about your journey, I think that you're going to find that there's a lot of folks right there who you're connected with, who have gone through infertility, are currently going through that journey with you, or just want to be that support for you. And that is incredible. But also just to share that, and again, not to push any spiritual beliefs on anybody, but for me, I realized when we finally got Lucas and realized the timing of everything, that even during those moments where I felt like everything was stagnant, there was nothing happening in our journey, that God was putting pieces together. The month that we finally were approved for our adoption was the month that his biological mother conceived. We had a possible match fall through in early summer. And during that time, our birth mom had not even walked into the agency to discuss placing Lucas for adoption yet. And so when these things are happening that just feel so devastating to us and we feel like nothing's happening, we just have to keep faith that there are things happening that we don't know about, and that God's timing is great. We could not have asked for a more perfect adoption, a more perfect baby for our family. Had that first match come through, it wouldn't have been Lucas, and it wouldn't have been what he is to us. I'm sure we would have been so thankful and he would have been beautiful, but it wouldn't have been our Lucas. And so just really reach out to those around you. Don't be afraid to call somebody on those days that are hard. And just remember that just because we can't see that something's happening doesn't mean that we're not moving forward.
Amen. Amen. Mm-hmm. So you guys have given me so much. I'd like to unpack that a little bit. Mm-hmm. So for both of you, it sounds like coming out of the infertility closet, to use an analogy, was liberating for you. But before you decided to share with the whole world, or at least your community, that it was something that you struggled with, I know that it was probably hard to talk about. So tell me a little bit about your process, and because it's easy to say, oh, just share your story, and it's so freeing and it feels good. But I know that there are people who are sitting terrified, like thinking, I will be rejected. People will not love me anymore. They will not accept me anymore if they realize I'm not perfect. So tell me a little bit about how you all, or if you even encountered that, if you even felt that. Tell me a little bit how you dealt with it and how you got to the point where, for instance, you all were willing to create a blog and not just have it be a blog that only you knew about, like create it and share it with others.
I definitely went through an angry phase when we were working with our OB. As a teacher, my kids are at lunch, but as a teacher, like seeing different families, with so many kids, and here I was just trying to get one. So I think there was definitely an angry phase where I was just like, God, come on. We waited till we were married. I was done with school. And I think that's okay to allow yourself those feelings, just not to stay there. And I think I'm always kind of a put it on all out there person. So I'm sure I've probably shared more over time than Joe wanted me to. But I've just kind of I never keep it in. So that's kind of how I just tell it like it is. But I know I definitely went through those first couple of years when we were trying, and, we just didn't happen, and there was a lot of anger, and that's where that community comes in, because people were loving and praying me through when I couldn't do it for myself.
Okay, that sounds good. And Tanya, can you talk a little bit about your process?
Sure. So as you said, not wanting anybody to know that you're not perfect, and obviously none of us are perfect, but that was something that I struggled with. It was very intimate for me. It was very personal for me. I didn't want anybody to see my struggles, to see my hurt, to know that there was any weakness there. And so it was terrifying for me. I remember the day that I wrote a blog, and it was, going to be a Facebook post, and it talked about my diagnosis. It went as intimate as, giving details as of the day, my sophomore year of high school, that I found out, and just my journey. And when I hit submit, I about died. I was so scared, but instantly the positive feedback that started coming just really reinforced it's okay. And again, like, it was just so freeing. And after that, I wanted to tell everybody about what was going on in my journey. And I just felt like every time that I did share it, not only was I giving somebody else the opportunity to bless me with support, but I was finding more and more people that I could connect with, that were joining my journey. And so it was scary, but nothing bad has come from me sharing my story. Only good.
Only good things. And so this is beautiful. So anyone who is out there struggling, and I want to say, we do take questions. We're almost out of time. So if you are watching this on either Instagram or on Facebook and you'd like to ask a question or share a comment, please feel free to do that. But I do know that, I know that on my personal infertility journey, it was liberating to finally be able to share that we had overcome. It was almost impossible when we were going through it, because I just, I just felt so convicted and felt so much shame. I wish that I had had the courage to do that even while I was going through, because what I found when we finally shared our story, and we did it, well, we didn't really have a choice. It was covered on national network news, but when we did it, just like you all have described, there were so many people in our personal family and friend circle who were also struggling with infertility, and they were encouraged and blessed because of it. And most of the things shared were very positive and supportive. We did have a couple of people who were, who's had some feelings about our choices, and that's okay too, because we own those choices and we were good with those choices. So have you all given thought to kind of in the future how you plan to share the genesis or the birth story of your sons with them?
I was looking back on our blog, just trying to get our timeline for everything that we've done before coming on. And I hope one day when he's older, not, in those teenage years, that he'll be able to look back and see this.
Sarah?
This is all, and just his story's out there. But I just hope he realizes all the love and prayers that he has had since he was just a little cell on a screen, so definitely I think one day he'll be able to see and know, we talk about now, Mama and Daddy waited a long time for you, and that's why we're so thankful you're here. And you
guys are rushing to the office.
Oh, sorry, announcements.
That's okay. I don't know if I mentioned, but we got some teachers in the house.
But I just hope that our story, when he's older, he'll understand and see that Mama and Daddy weren't perfect. They had some struggles. It's okay,
Yes. And then before Tanya, you comment, Stacy says good morning, and his story is full of love and God's great plan. Thank you so much, Stacy. Yay! Another one of our families. And then Kelly Popple, another one of our fantastic Kate family, says, I'm glad you mentioned that you went through an anger phase. I hate to feel guilty when I see friends posting pregnancy and baby announcements. Tanya, I'll just say real quick, you can turn those announcements off if they hurt your feelings. It's okay to do that.
Hi, people.
For doing that. Oh my goodness, I dropped so many friends. Ooh. Like not in real life, but on social media.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Tanya, what are you going to do about telling your little beautiful boy his story?
Well, we plan to be open from day one, and we have thus far. Obviously, he's still itty bitty, so he probably doesn't understand what we're talking about. But we have purchased some beautiful adoption books that help introduce the adoption story to the child. We have beautiful items that we've held on to, all of the cards, information from our entire journey. We're putting together a beautiful collection of what his story is coming into our lives, and we plan on letting him know that from a very beginning stage, so that it's never something that's a shocker. It's just part of who he is, and our hope is that by being very honest about our journey and the obstacles that we face, that he's going to realize just how wanted and how loved he has been even before we ever knew who he was.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know that with my children, because our story went public immediately, we wanted to make sure that they knew it and that they felt proud of their story, their birth story, and not ashamed, because you always have people that want to take something and use it to harm your children. So from their earliest memories, we had pictures of my mom pregnant, and we told them how much we wanted them and how we had prayed for them. And we shared everything to the point where they thought it was pretty typical for people to be carried by their grandchildren, their grandparents. I mean, I remember in elementary, preschool, they asked their friends, "Did your granny carry you too?" And,
I love that.
So, sharing it early, I think, is a great idea. I think it's really important so that the kids, because at that age, there's no shame. Like, everything is good, everything is normal, everything is great. So that sounds like a good plan. And sharing those blogs, I think, is a great way to let him know about how wanted and how he was just a blessing for the whole community. So great idea. We had another comment. Adoption was in the movie Breakthrough they saw yesterday. Great movie and message. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Kelly. So we are finishing up. Ladies, do you all have any last minute things that you want to share with our guests? And are you still blogging? If they want to, see kind of where you are now, are your blogs public, or anything else?
Our blog is public. It has not been updated since Andrew was born.
Okay.
I need to do something. I was going through and I was like, goodness. Yeah, I think it's like 2 days before K was the last post I made. But just don't give up and know you're not alone. It's hard. It's so hard. But everything will be worth it. It's just that God's timing, it's so hard to understand. But once it all makes sense, you're like, oh, I see what you did there. I should have listened. Sorry, God. But
That's right. And then Tanya, any last nuggets?
Our blog is also public. We updated it a couple of times after Lucas came home, but just like Sarah, we're focused on just loving every minute with him now. And again, my advice, very similar, is that you're not alone. Don't feel like you have to go through this journey alone. If I could go back and do anything different, I would have reached out more, honestly, than I did, and I would have been a little bit more open as I went through, the rough days. But that just wasn't who I was at that point. But you're not alone. We're here. I'd love to chat with anybody. I know Sarah would too. We're here for you, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And when you get there, it's all going to be worth it.
And it's amazing.
Yeah. What are your blogs for anyone who wants to follow you?
It's ERAS3 Sarah .blogspot.com.
Okay, great.
And ours is on Facebook. It's the Morales Adoption, the Morales Family Adoption.
Awesome. And for anyone who wants more information about the K Foundation Family Building Grant, because these are two of our amazing family group. This is family, okay? K Foundation is family. So these are part of our family. And you can learn more about that at www.kfoundation.org. And we have a couple of events coming up, and I hope that if you are struggling with infertility and you are open to receiving some support, you will join us. We have a conference. It's the Future of Family Building, and it's going to be on May 30th. And we also have a Corks with Kate fundraiser, because the way that we fund our grants is through charitable gifts from families that just support what we do. And that's going to be in Richmond, Virginia on May 30th at the Richmond Wine Station. And we also have the Race for the Family coming up in June. And no matter where you are in the country, you can participate in the Race for the Family because we do have a virtual sign up option. And so if you'd like more information about that, please visit us at raceforthefamily.com. We'll be giving away $10,000 in fertility treatment at Shady Grove at the Race for the Family. And we'll also be giving away a medication grant for 1 cycle of IVF, and that was donated by EMD Serrano. So on behalf of the Cade Foundation and all the families that we serve, I thank you. And as we finish up this program, ladies, this is Coffee with Cade. So tell me, what's in your cup? I show you my Cade cup right here. What's in your cup? All right. Looks like there's a whole lot of Starbucks going on. Yes. And I have water, the H2O. So I'm grateful for you. Y'all have a wonderful day. And again, to everyone else, welcome to National Infertility Awareness Week. I look forward to seeing you and overcoming with you. Take care. Hold the line really quick.